Just the first question is going to be health-wise, how you feeling?
Good. I mean, yeah, I had a little issue in Marbella towards the end, the last game, but it's nothing serious. It was like I needed a few days extra, and I'm good. Yeah, I feel good. So the plan was always to participate in a game in Guatemala and kind of build on from there.
The depth of this team, obviously, I mean, I say you've got 12 or 13 players. Can you just talk about when you come off the bench and are able to make an impact? Not to say that's what you'll be all season, but what does that say about the quality and depth of this team?
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of competitions we're in and games we're going to play, we need depth for sure, and we're going to rely on more than just 12, 13 players throughout the year. And yeah, whether it was the first game or this game or we're going to play every 3 days for some time now, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of rotation and based off fitness and health of this team, the coaches are going to decide who plays which games and kind of manage because, if we go past Antigua, then there's another midweek, for 2 weeks, another midweek game, and plus we play MLS as well, so you don't want to take, the Champions League serious and kind of MLS not serious and then think that you're going to make up for it because we paid the price. The year we won Champions League, we didn't make playoffs, so I think that was a good learning point for us that we're going to have to balance a little bit more between the two competitions.
From an ego perspective, is it tough to manage that knowing that you're not going to maybe be starting every game, or is it relatively easy knowing that sort of everyone is being or?
Yeah, I think, it might not even be a how you play issue. It might just have to be because there is so many games, so I think everybody will find themselves starting and on a bench at some point in the next weeks, and it might have nothing to do with performances, so I think we're smart players and we understand how many games we're going to play, so I don't think it will be a tough ask to kind of accept, that you might not start all the games.
You've been someone who has said in the past that you would always be rather playing than training. Is this sort of the time of year where you're feeling that particularly?
Yeah, it's fantastic. We just got back last night from Guatemala. Easy training, game tomorrow. Sunday probably off, and then again another game coming up. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's we all want to play games. We don't want to train that much. So it's probably not just me. It might be more games than just me.
How do you feel after that game? Like, how do you kind of evaluate that first run, that first match?
Yeah, I mean it's not easy. I don't think it was what everybody expected us to play like. But the conditions, being away in Guatemala. They're having the field was different than we're used to. It's everything's just different, and it looks very easy on the paper. People think you go there, you win 3-4-0, and it's never like that. And not one team, MLS team, has won comfortably on road. Whether it was in Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, they're all tough games. So I think to get a 3-1 win, it's probably a better result than most expected. The year we won Champions League, we haven't won a single game on road. We tied all 4. So yeah, I think it's a great way to start a season, honestly.
How are the conditions of the field? Like, what do you mean specifically?
It's just not, it's not perfect, and it's a little bit different than what we used to. The grass is different. The field was actually pretty narrow and very long. And it's different, right? All the little things that when you don't win, you try and use as excuses, altitude and so on. But I think we got the result done, and in Champions League, this is what matters. You need to win. We got a nice 2-goal lead, and we're going to play them again at home on Wednesday. So yeah, as far as start to the season, I think it's really good.
And then, what do you feel that you can maybe carry into tomorrow, or what's going to be important to start off well with an MLS?
Yeah, I don't know if there's much that we can carry other than the result and the fact that we won. Will be a completely different game against Charlotte tomorrow. So yeah, I think how we started the preseason. We've been scoring goals in Spain, and yeah, to score 3 goals on road in Antigua, I think that's good, and we'll try and carry that onto tomorrow. And start the MLS season properly.
You're not a player that lacks confidence, but how important was it for you to get that goal in the 94th minute?
I don't think it was super important, to be honest with you. It's the first game of the season. I've played so many seasons that I probably takes me a little bit of time to get going and most of the seasons. But yeah, I mean, it felt good to kind of have that 2-goal cushion, I would say, leading into the next game, because we obviously know that the away goals matter as well in Champions League, which means now they have to come here and win 3-0 to go through. So yeah, from like result standpoint of view, I think the third goal was important. But so was the first and second, and then yeah, I mean, I'm happy to score. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to come off the bench and contribute and score and kind of pick up where I left off last year. But the result is more important than my goal.
Maybe not the goal itself, but Georgie set you up with a pretty nice pass there. He had another pretty nice ball when he first came on. What have you seen from him, and I don't know, how does he change the game for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit different type of winger than what we have, and you try and find him in isolation moments. You try and find him one-on-one. That's why the free kick shortly after we came in. I saw him. He's going to be 1v1 against the defender that just played probably for 70 minutes and had no idea what's about to hit him. So I try to give Georgie the ball and kind of just let him take the guy on. And I think that's Georgie's strength. Is the 1v1 isolation moments. And yeah, whenever he's on the field, we try to use his strengths.
Albert, all preseason there's talk of the pivots, how you guys are working on the pivots, didn't matter who it was. Can you talk about how that now creates you all being a diverse and dynamic team, regardless?
Yeah, well, the pivots are kind of important. They're in the middle of everything, going forward, defending too, and it's usually if they're having a good game, then the the attacking guys ahead of them in the pockets are also getting a lot of balls, right? Because they're coming from the pivots. So yeah, that's super important, and the better the game they can have and the more times they can get on the ball, kind of gets the team going, So I thought in Antigua, Christian and Obed did really well, and then JB when we came in as well, going back to your first question, the depth, right? We have guys who can play there, and yeah, and we will need everyone.
What do you expect from Charlotte this Saturday and the challenges they present?
Yeah, I mean, they might be a little bit different than they were last year, I would say. It's obviously a team from East Conference that we don't get to play a lot, so it's kind of harder to know them as well as the West Conference teams. But we've seen who they added, new players, and we have watched film, so we're aware of how they try to play. They had a very good season last year. And didn't concede a lot of goals. So a team that defends well and obviously has some good attacking players that can make the difference. So we expect, I mean, nothing other than honestly a tough game tomorrow.
How did you, the locker room, react to the trade of Josh?
Yeah, it was. I would say a tough one. I mean, he's been here forever. A really good teammate and a good player, and he probably didn't get as much playing time as he wanted to, or maybe as he deserved, because he was, always given 100% in training, always training well, and I thought even the games, especially my first year when I came here, when he played really well. But due to the talent that we have in that position, he was probably restricted in terms of playing time, and we all said goodbye, wished him all the best, other than when they play us. But I'm sure he'll be successful, and it's probably might be a good thing for him, to kind of start fresh, turn a page, and maybe and build something new going forward for him in Colorado, But as far as Josh, yeah, great teammate, great player too.